able to effect a positive change both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light for my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we'll analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
The Ministry of Interior has announced the launch of a new online citizenship and business management portal. Now, the Permanent Secretary explained that the initiative was part of the ministry's ongoing reforms that is aimed at promoting transparency, enhancing operational efficiency, thereby significantly improving service delivery to the public, right? That is what they have said. So let me quickly run you through the key features of this online portal, right? The portal will facilitate applications of citizenship, allowing individuals to submit required documents, to track application status, and receive updates in real time. That's one. So say, for instance, people that are married to foreigners. You know, I hear that a man can give his spouse citizenship, but the woman can't, give her spouse citizenship. So let's say you're married to a foreigner. So it means that you can just go online, submit all documents and track your applications. Then, of course, you get, real-time, feedback. So secondly would be entrepreneurs and businesses can apply for necessary permits and licenses through the portal. So this would reduce all those bureaucratic hurdles that we see and expedite the process. So if I want to come into your country, for instance, in Nigeria, and I need certain kinds of business permits to be able to function in the country, it means that I can just go on this portal, put in all the things that are required, and, everything will be expedited, and you don't need to bribe anybody. You don't need to do anything. You would get, your permit. Next would be that the platform is also designed to be intuitive and easy to navigate, ensuring a seamless experience for users. Now, there was there was an export, video that was going around saying that, there was grants available for women that want to go into business, and it is specific for female founders. Like, 2 different people sent that link to me. So I said, okay, you know what, let me check it out and see if it's going to work, or if I could quickly apply, because the deadline is in 2 days. And I didn't go on this portal. And I clicked on what they said we should click on. And the page could not be found. In fact, just an hour or 2 hours ago, I decided to say, you know what, let me speak to a friend of mine that knows that she's within that space, if she knew about it. And she was asking for the link. Even in the attempt to want to even send the link, this time around, the page, the link, the website itself is like it has crashed. and this is supposed to be like a government website. So when you say that the platform is designed to be intuitive and easy to navigate, ensuring seamless experience for users, this might not really have the high traffic, but I tend to find that a lot of times when it comes to things around government establishments or parastatal and, they're online and all of that, they would always just be one challenge or the other. So how are these other guys doing it? The ones that have, what's it called, government websites abroad, how are they doing it? Maybe we need to go and learn. So they say that the platform is going to be easy, so we'll be on the lookout for that. They said also applicants can securely upload required documents. This will now help to reduce the need for physical submission. I mean, a lot of embassies right now, they are going paperless, right? If you go into the embassy, gone are those days where you carry a lot of files. From the comfort of your home, after filling all your documentation, you can just upload all the files, all the things that are necessary for your application to go through. So when you're going to the physical office, it's just probably for, if you have not done biometrics for a while, to go and do your biometrics and, submit the physical passport for the visa. So if we have those kinds of things in some of our portals, of course, definitely, I am sure that it will make the process seamless and easy. And it says users can also track the status of the application. They will be receiving updates, notifications throughout the process, which is, fantastic, because one of the biggest things that we've complained about in terms of anything government, government portals like this, it's the lack of feedback. So I remember there was one other one that I tried to access, right? We submitted the application, there was nothing, no email, no nothing. Nobody told us, okay, you have been declined the application, or the application was approved. Nothing was said. So I think it's important that, a feedback mechanism is put in place. And if they say that, these are the expectations, you are able to track it, and you're able to receive notifications and updates throughout the process, that would be fantastic. Also, they said some of the benefits, right, of this portal is that it will automate many processes. So it will reduce processing time, and it will also minimize delays, right? So, gone are the days where you want to apply for something in a government parastatal, and all you are doing, is you go to one office, you say, go to this office, do this photocopy, do all of those things. When we adopt technology to some of the things that we do in Nigeria, definitely automating the process would mean that what would have taken me probably 100 days or 10 days to do, I can do it in 1 hour, because the portal would automate many processes, and it will reduce, processing time, and it also minimize delays, which is what we always suffer. That's why we have a lot of things pending. You hear one file is somewhere, or the file is still being this thing, you have to go and use money to escort the file, and all of those things, I'm just giving general thought, not particularly with this, right? So the online portal also would provide clear guidance. It would also provide clear requirements and tracking capabilities that would promote, transparency and accountability. So it means that if your documents are on point, everything is working, you shouldn't have a problem, and you don't need to bribe anybody. So citizens and businesses can access services anywhere, at any time, reducing the need for any visit to any government office. Then reduce bureaucracy. The portal would also ensure that there's seamless processes, minimizing potential corruption that we always see with government establishment, and also ensure a more efficient, experience, right? I don't know if we have our guest now. Mukhtar, are you there? Good evening.
Good evening. Sorry, I'm here.
Yeah, I was buying time, trying to be like the experts before you came in.
You did very well. I wouldn't have done better.
Thank you so much. All right, so Mukhtar, when I saw this news, I said, oh, great news. Because you see, anytime I hear that the government wants to adopt technology or automate a process and all of that, it just gives me hope that, okay, yes, maybe truly, we are getting somewhere. And when I saw this, I said this was worth having a conversation for, given the fact that, you know, Fridays we try to dedicate it to SMEs, we try to also dedicate it to things around innovation and all of that. So please walk me through what came to your mind when you saw that the federal government was going to launch this portal, you know, that was going to help with business permits and citizenship. What was the first thing that popped in your head?
Well, the first thing will come up, you say fantastic. But again, you think about your country, whereby things can just go wrong. Things that ordinarily will be done in some other countries with so much ease. In your country, you see that those things become something else. Ordinarily, something to be excited about. But again, we have to give it to the Minister of Interior. I think that's one minister that I think has been doing very, very well. His only dent will just be the prison break that we see around. But outside of that, he has been very innovative. You remember the passport issue. These days, you go to the passport office, you don't see the crowd like you used to see them before. In Abuja, I heard that you don't even need to have contact with immigration officers. You just bring in your passport and you pass through the exit door. I said, he has done a lot of innovative things, taking those things abroad, also in Canada and in the US. So I'm not so surprised that he's trying to do this. Hopefully it will work, because again, it has become a challenge, and this is part of the ease of doing business. We must make that known, because part of this, the ease of doing business, is to be able to make sure business are seamless, especially to get business permits, especially foreigners, and also citizens also who have will gain from that, because when you have more foreigners coming to your country to do business with you, then that you're creating an expansion for your own businesses too.
Awesome, awesome. So I saw the part where they talked about citizenship is quite, I wouldn't know how much demand of citizenship we might have. Do you understand? Because, so this is me speaking from a layman's point of view. When I am a full-fledged Nigerian, and I'm married to a spouse that is full-fledged Nigerian, I think when I have my birth, the birth of my child is automatically a citizen. So I would believe that the people that would need to apply for citizenship might be the people that are probably married to foreigners, right? That the foreigners want to naturalize and all of that. But correct me if I'm wrong. Would we be having a high demand, you know, for citizenship, you know, as a service on that portal?
Well, you're very wrong.
I'm wrong, Abby.
Yeah. You're wrong, because in Nigeria, as I saw at the time I heard it, you are married to a Nigerian does not give you automatic citizen to become a Nigerian.
No,
sure
I'm saying, that means you missed what I said. If I am Nigerian, I am married to a Nigerian. Automatically, if we birth a child, the child is Nigerian, right? I'm saying that I feel like the people that would need this are people that have spouses that are foreigners, you know. And I know right now the law does not even allow a woman. The law does not allow. If I marry an Oyinbo man now, unfortunately, he cannot be a citizen. But if a Nigerian man marries a foreigner, you know, she can become a citizen. So what I'm saying is that because
it's not. I think that's what I'm trying to say. It's not automatic.
No, I'm saying she can become, so she wouldn't be the one to need to apply. That's the point I'm making, right?
Yes, the process.
Yeah,
and the process is not seamless. So maybe this will help it seamless. It's not
okay. Seamless. So no, the question I'm asking is that was that resource needed? Mukhtar, you're missing the question. I'm saying that was it important for us to add that as a service, given that the population or the demand, that's the word I'm looking for, the demand for that particular service might not be as high, you know, as the business permit in this portal that they have opened up. Yeah. I'm just thinking out loud.
I agree with you. The demand for, the demand for citizenship, through marriage might not be as high as business permit, but it's not as low as you think. And you know, sometimes we just think that a lot of people don't want to get Nigerian citizenship. You need to, I think some weeks ago we have about 100 and something people have Nigerian citizenship. So it's not that people, you know, when you have something you don't really think everybody wants it, especially with the challenges that we are going through as a nation and everything. So maybe that's why. But again, I think that is good. Like I was trying to say, if you even in Nigeria marry a foreigner, sometimes the process of getting that Nigerian passport is very cumbersome. First of all, you have to get a stay permit where the person needs to sign in every time he's coming. You have to pay some particular amount to be able to stay before that process is complete. So I think that is good for us. If at the end of the day, this process will make it seamless, I will be very excited about it.
Awesome. Awesome. So let's discuss quickly the economic impact, right? Because I know that when they simplify these business permits, especially speaking about the business permit now, it's supposed to encourage more entrepreneurs. It's supposed to spring up. It's supposed to encourage more investments. It's supposed to also encourage economic growth. So how do you see this impacting us economically?
Well, it's a fantastic turn. I talk about the ease of doing business. If there's anything you pride the Buhari administration, especially when we then have the Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo, as the acting president, was breaking those barriers of the ease of doing business. You remember then you go to the airport, you have NDLE, you have a lot of agencies that you need to go clear before you take your whatever, even when you are coming in. He tried to slim it to just a single and that did work, but after some time we're almost back to status quo. But I think what they are trying to do is going to be very, very good for us going forward. I personally think it's going to be very, very good. It will make the ease of doing business is one key in terms why investors will want to come to your country, because they want to come and do business in your country. They want to see how much business they can do, and then the ease of doing those business, especially in the area of registration, in the area of finances. But my challenge is that it's not just the interior that will help businesses grow. There's what they call a capital import certificate that you need to get from the Central Bank of Nigeria if you have to, you know, bring in large chunk of funds into the country. I think all those are things that should be looked into.
Awesome. So let's go on a very short break, because this is supposed to mark like a significant step towards, you know, digitizing government services in Nigeria. So I'm really curious as to how sustainable this will be. Let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation. Stay with me. All right, thanks for staying tuned. That was a very quick in and out. So thank you for staying with us. It says we're discussing the federal government's launch of the online portal for citizenship and, of course, business permits, right? Please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join this conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. Our phone lines are also now open. The numbers to call are 070-2500-7749 or 070-1424-2420. Let's hear what you have to say. Do you think this is great for us as a country? I mean, I'll be happy to hear your thoughts. So, Mukhtar, before I went on that very short break, right, the question I'm asking is that this is actually fantastic because we've always clamored for digitizing services within the government to just help smoothen the process. I remember that when I was going to apply for the Lagos State Housing Scheme, under Governor Fashola, all I needed to do was to open my laptop in the comfort of my home. I submitted and uploaded all the documents that were required to my tax clearance, my, bank statements, and all the things, you know, and I filled in the application form. It was right there in my house. I was called to say, okay, I had qualified for the property, you know, and I didn't need to see anybody. The only time I now had interaction with the people that work with the Lagos State, the LS, that's the development people, right, was when I needed to go and I think drop the down payments and, you know, and open, you know, because you have to now open a mortgage bank with the government and then all of those things. That's when I then had that interaction, right? So digitizing any service within the government would definitely cut off a lot of things, corruption, bureaucracy, all of those things, right? But now I'm just thinking in my head, every time I see that the government is trying to attempt technology, most times I feel like they are not thorough. They're not thorough in the sense that it's either we'll start having glitches, the portal will be down, you know, and all of those things. I don't see the sustainability there. Before you came on to join me, I was just saying that two people sent me a link on one of these government agencies that is trying to give funding to female founders. So I said, you know what, it's a grant, so let me try to see if I can put in an application. And I opened the portal, the page was not found. You know, so is the sustainability for me, right? You know, how well have the government invested in the technology infrastructure that can keep this and make it sustainable?
I wish I could be able to exactly tell you whether the government have really invested so much on that, because again, we have infrastructural decay. We've been talking about it for a while. And part of it is you just talk about technology. If you look at most of our communication companies or IT companies, they've been having a lot of challenges since the floating of the Naira, or will I call it the floating of the Naira, or the whatever name they want to call it, or the revaluation of the Naira. But since then, they've been having issues to really import and put in modern equipment. So if you want to do such thing and you don't have a good backup, then that's a major challenge. And you know, when the system is not very strong, it seems to be advantageous to those corrupt people that want to take advantage of it. Sometimes it's more or less like they deliberately want to do that. Even if you look at recently, if you go to the immigration office and you want to do passport, and you go there, you fill online directly, and you take your slip to them, you can fill, give me a date. They will just tell you, you go wait there, don't worry. They wait, we'll call you. And sometimes that wait will almost be forever until you now go back there and try to talk to them, because somebody will go into that system. And you know, before somebody goes into that system, that means you just have to something have changed hands before that. So I think that's why we keep talking about government not having a good structure, because government is always built about by strong men, not by strong institutions. Especially Nigerian government. But if you want to build a government by strong institution, you can imagine what America would have been today without a very strong institution, with the kind of president they have now that wants to destroy everything that America has stood for over the years. But the institutions are not really allowing him to do that, and that's why he's in executive order there. But in Nigeria, it's seamless. I mean, the president is the most powerful person in this country. He can decide today and say, look, I've decided to sack the governor of Rivers State, whether he's democratically elected or not. I will change the national anthem. You go to the National Assembly and they'll say I have it. Nobody, there's no institution that will stand up to him. So I think what we'll be able to, I agree with your fears, but again, there's no harm in trying. It could just be the game changer.
Okay, but Mukhtar, the business permit part, because I want to stick to that particular side, I'm not really concerned about citizenship. When you want to go into a business in this country, you go to the CAC portal. And I mean, they have to some extent stabilized that portal, that it is actually functioning, it is working, right? So why didn't the government think of because CAC is business registration, company registration, and all of that. Why did they not think of, instead of duplicating efforts, right, or spending, because it would have cost a lot, you know, to put up this new portal. There was an existing portal. Why was it not integrated to say, okay, part of what the services of CAC would be now will now be to be offering these kinds of business permits, and also it is just because it's already there, it's already existing, it's already functional. Right? Why was that thought not, you know, at the what's it called, the discussion plan?
I think it was bureaucracy. CAC is under the Federal Ministry of, I'm sure it's under the Ministry of Finance, or maybe under the Ministry of I'm trying to remember the ministry that they are under now. So definitely it's different from the Ministry of Interior. this portal is for an external purpose, and they will tell you to register indigenous business, you have to go through CAC. And I think there's a synergy. Maybe I stand to be corrected. I think there's a synergy because, again, when it comes to registration of business in Nigeria, the CAC are the only ones that can register your business here in Nigeria. So I think there should be a synergy. There should be a link between the CAC and the portal. I'll be surprised if there's no link, because whatever the business you are doing in Nigeria, you have to register through CAC. So maybe if you're a foreign business, maybe you need to get you see what I'm talking about. Maybe you have to have the foreign impact, what they call the foreign, I've forgotten, like I said about when you want to bring in large chunk of money, you need to get import certificate from the CBN, and the money goes to the CBN first before they dispose. Maybe that's what you might have to do that, and that's bureaucracy, which sometimes gives room for other corruption to take place. Remember, the president went to a country, I think it's the United Arab Emirates, and was trying to invite foreign visitors to Nigeria, and he told them that if anybody's asking you money, let me know, report them to me, and I'll make sure I deal with them. So that tells you that there could be challenges.
It's possible, because I remember during Governor Ambode's leadership as governor, even here in Lagos State, he had to create a new office. I think it was called Lagos Global or something, because what they had noticed prior to that time was if foreign investors were coming into the country, right, because they would have to go through all that bottleneck of different ministry and all of that, it kind of slowed the process. It also slowed the timelines, you know, so a lot of them got frustrated and took their money back. And again, because all these ministries, PAMSEC, they were asking for bribes. So what the governor did was it's even a one-man touch point. Once you come into Lagos, you go to that straight from the global table, right? The commissioner that was in charge, straight to the governor's office, right? So all that entire chain of going through permanent secretary, going through, you know, all the ministry, all those things were cut off. And I think that was part of what pissed them off, you know, because, you know, all the egunje that they would have gotten, you know, they couldn't get that anymore. So imagine, yeah, so I understand what you're saying, but I would really, really want to believe that, you know, CAC should have been in charge of this, you know, permit. So if the Interior would just find a way to probably incorporate it, but I don't know. Let me quickly ask, right? Because we're touching on security and we're talking on technology, right? How would we ensure that, you know, the safety of, you know, anything that you're probably going to be putting, you know, what should the government be looking out for in terms of investing heavily on, you know, the cybersecurity architecture, just to make sure that, because, you know, anything with portals and all of that, you know, there's also that risk, you know, of that security risk that might also come up. What would you think would probably be, you're already smiling, what the government has put in place, you know, for this?
Well, you and I know that in Nigeria, it's only when there's an attack, then we start dealing with the attack. We don't prepare for attack. So hopefully, like I said, the Minister of Interior have been doing a lot of work very well. So hopefully he has taken that into consonance in setting up this system. I think my main one was the one you were talking during when I joined you, the downtime, because that's the main challenges that I think you have. These days, even registering your NIN, when you see, they say, oh, they're having downtime. You cannot do it. Go to driver's license to have your driver's license, whether in road safety, or they say, oh, we're having downtime. Our banks are even enjoying them, despite being a private business. So it's downtime. I think for me, the downtime syndrome is what should be dealt with. And sometimes this downtime syndrome is engineered by those that want to make sure that things continue to happen like that.
I was just going to say to you, Mukhtar, that you see, when they tell you there's downtime, they say if you go down that corner, there's somebody that can help you. You know, it can oh my God.
And so that is my challenge. Like you were just saying, if you go, I know the office is talking about. If you go to downtown NIN, in the NIN office, then they will direct you to a business center close by. And that guy never has downtime. And then you pay some money. And You'll be able to print out whatever document you have to print out. And sometimes he already has the document in his hand. So you just you fill it from here, then you take it. So I think that would be my challenge. Not to forget that we've done visa out on arrival. And that it's supposed to be a game changer, whereby you apply a foreign business visa on arrival, and that process has been compromised. And that's why the government is trying to create this technological portal. The visa on arrival would have been a game changer, whereby you apply to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and you get your visa on your arrival. You pick it there, just get your passport. That also was abused. So, and that was cancelled. And so now they are bringing in this technological aspect of it. Hopefully, like you said, if it works, I think it will be very good when I don't have to interact with anybody. I can get my visa at any time. So hopefully it works. For me, I will be very excited if it works, because I'm looking forward to it, whereby you have your business partners that are coming from the US, from the UK, from Canada, from Australia, from China. They just, by a pinch of a button, they are here.
That's fantastic. I was just going to say that. So how do you think the government would monitor the effectiveness and evaluate this portal, right? Because you said something earlier when you were talking. You said, you know, when you go and you have done the application of your international passport, and you then get to the people and give them the slip. Okay, you've done all the registration online. The anger, the vengeance, you know, and they will not say. So what the government was trying to run away from, which is to shorten the time, which is to give you quick turnaround time and all of that. All those things is completely defeated because one human being is upset. So how do you think the government would monitor and evaluate this this kind of online portal to ensure that, you know, things are flowing? What do you think they should put in place?
You see, sometimes when I say in Nigeria that we have everything to make it work, some people think I'm just saying. Remember, there's what we call service com in every ministry that has to interact with people. So service com are the one that is supposed to be like a watchdog to make sure that things are done according to the procedures. But like I said, when you don't have a vibrant institution, you only have a strong man running that institution, then that's where the problem comes from. So ordinarily, we shouldn't be discussing, oh, it really works. Service com are the one to report to the government and say, this policy is not working, this policy is not working. Then the government will need to improve on that. But unfortunately, like you rightly pointed out, it's always a challenge. So for those to work, I think maybe in this part of the country, if you want something to work, you set up a special task force that will be strictly responsible for that. Maybe the Minister of Interior may have to set up a special task force. Maybe that's the only way it can work. Where I'm sitting now, what I've seen.
All those task forces, they're not efficient, Mukhtar. Like, I mean, that's like waste of resources, and, you know, what is the point, right? So I say this to say that...
You see,
go ahead.
You see, the task force is meant to favor somebody. And sometimes the task force is there to make sure that those things will work well. Where you see task force have worked well, you realize that the minister or the PAMSEC will look at somebody that he knows this one cannot be compromised. Maybe his voice will be compromised. But, you know, leadership is something. Once the people know who the leader is, sometimes it's very, very difficult for them to want to compromise. Even when they want to compromise, they compromise with fear. See, let me give you an example. Sometimes you go to the airport these days, and maybe you do your security clearance, and you're about to go. You want to give an immigration officer something, to just say, oh, thank you for making it fast. The guy will say, Oga, please come like this, come like this, come like this, drop and like this. Camera is watching, camera is watching. so sometimes it depends on who is the head of that tax force.
No,
that really makes it work.
Let me give you my experience in January. That particular day that I was traveling with my son, there were not only cameras there, they actually had live, what do they call them? Live inspectors. You understand? Watching them, like physically watching them. And the man was still asking me for bribe. I said, oh, guy, you're not even afraid that you want to lose your job. Do you not see that? Because the people were there physically standing and watching, right? It was not just camera alone, right? They were there watching. And the man was still asking, Madam, I said, Oga, If you don't care about your job, I care about your job on your behalf. Stop it. You've done your service. God bless you, and let me go. But you see, the reason I say this, it then brings me back to the question I was going to ask you, that there is a huge role where mindset has to play in all of these things, right? The typical mindset of a civil servant is that I am there for you to give me bribe. I am there for you to anything for the boys, anything for... That is the typical mindset of the civil servant. So that's why they say that soldier go, soldier come, barrack remain. The civil servants are the barrack.
Remain.
Do you understand? They are there. And they are the ones that would continue to ensure that the system stays corrupt. Right? So if we truly want to have these kinds of portal functioning and working and whatever, how should they approach the orientation, you know, of their their servants, the civil servants? How do they reorient their mind? Because all of these things, fantastic, is beautiful. Somebody will just make sure they go and turn off the switch of the server, so it will not work, you know?
Well, I think for me, when things will work in Nigeria, they will work. Like you said, the mindset. And like I go back that it's all about leadership. Once the leader is forthright, I don't know whether you've seen it, everybody around there becomes very forthright. I give you an example. Remember when NAFTA with the late Dora Akunyili? Everybody became just, every NAFTA official was just upright. You just cannot cut corners. So what happened? There was a system. Systems is what will guide against this. So if you are setting this thing, or what is the system? How did the system, what are the processes? Who are managing these processes? And what we have seen in Nigeria, if you want the technological process to work seamlessly, you take it out of the civil servants. That's how it has worked. In any way you see it's working. It's because it's not under the control of the civil servants. You give it what we call the PPP, public-private partnership. Well, it has even gone far like that, even with American embassy in Nigeria. Before now, they used to, you go to the bank, you do that, and you just go to the embassy directly, or you go to DHL, and now they have changed it. They have even brought another private establishment that will take it to them. And so you can see that anything in Nigeria, you have to find a way, a system that will work for you. And sometimes the only system that can work for you is the private sector system, whereby it comes like a profit sharing. And the person that is going to apply for this permit is going to pay, let me give 10,000 naira. And out of this 10,000 naira, government is going to collect to make losses. So you see that there will be control, and you see that this will work. I think for me, that is what I think the government should do. Instead of putting this server, putting this under the run of the civil servant, you get a private sector to run it. Well, you may be surprised that's what is happening, because again, how we train our civil servants to begin to monitor and take control of such a process. I'm sure it's going to be a PPP, it's in a public-private partnership between the Ministry of Interior and others. But again, when you see that, then you begin to ask yourself, why do you have so much civil servants if they are not productive?
Do we want to open that kind of worm? We're talking about over bloated systems, right? And yet a lot of them are actually redundant. They are not actually... Yeah. So before I let you go quickly, in 2 minutes, right? I read something earlier on inflation, and how the Minister for Information was saying that the president, you know, is based on all his amazing policies that we saw the numbers drop, you know, from what it was in March to what it was, the new statistics that was released in April. Do you agree with that, or what do you think are the indices? Why did the
Maybe the minister did not read that in that report that 30 states in Nigeria have inflation over 30%.
It's all right.
So I'm sure. Have I not answered your question like that?
On that
because
note.
Maybe the minister did not read that side. That from that report shows that 30 states, about 30 states have inflation above about 30% in terms of inflationary pressure. So you see, it's only in Nigeria where you use rebasing to reduce inflation. and you have done that rebasing to reduce the inflation, but the cost of goods are not going down. Yes, I agree that relatively price of commodities are stable. That is what I know. There's stability in terms of price of commodity. It wasn't like when he came in there where if you buy something, a friend of mine said, when you buy egg, maybe you buy one crate of egg, and you remember you have to make it two. By the time you go to your car and drop it and come back in, the price has changed. But I think now you can buy, at the end of the month, you go back, the price will still remain the same. And this is largely due to there is a corridor of stability in the exchange rate between 1,600 and 1,500, 1,570, 580, and 590.
Yeah.
That's why we are seeing that. Now, it's not, and again, thanks to Dangote Refinery, your very popular refinery where you go to buy fuel, MRS. I think I've joined you now, tried it, and I think I'm agreeing with that, your point now.
Okay, so you have seen the light. Welcome to MRS family. Thank you so much, Mukhtar. It's always a pleasure having you. Definitely would have to bring you back again, to continue to discuss these economic issues. But thank you for always, obliging us with your time. All right.
My pleasure.
Thank you guys for watching. Now, if you want to watch more of these episodes and even other shows, please join us on YouTube. It's at Official Upgrade TV. Click the subscribe button, click the notification button, watch all our shows. We have one coming up at 10 p.m., so just keep watching. If you missed our quote for today, it says, the ministry remains committed to establishing a more efficient, transparent, and secure framework for citizenship administration while continuously enhancing service delivery through digital transformation. And this was from Magdalene Ajani. I'll see you guys on Monday at 8 p.m. Enjoy your weekend and the rest of your evening.
A growing youthful population, and with little or no meaningful engagement, lives a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.